So I have to tell you, of every single podcast we have done, lots of conversations about how we use AI to be more efficient ourselves. But what you talked about is how can we help take on the load of other departments? And are there things that they're doing that aren't efficient, that aren't the best use of their time, that we can really help you with? That's a whole nother level of getting involved with other departments and even beyond sharing the voice of the customer and the data and the information that you have, which I want to spend more time on. I want to talk a little bit about, maybe you can just tell us kind of your philosophy on the role, the importance of data, the emergence of AI, and how you're using that to provide, like you said, data-driven conversations and value to the rest of the company.
Yeah. So I think everyone knows that data is important. I think everyone doesn't necessarily know how to cultivate and create a data rich environment so that you can, one, leverage that data, and two, you can trust the data, and three, you can then share the data. So when I first came into seat, the first thing that I really made sure that I did was I didn't just want to have an analytics team who was creating beautiful dashboards and Tableau and sending them out through Power BI tools to our enterprise. I wanted to make sure that we truly understood what our data was and the importance of our data. So I kind of stood up a data as a product team within the contact center. So these teammates of mine are attached to specific applications within the contact center. They're part of the product lifecycle. They know who the technology owner is of that application. They work directly with the product owners. So as we're building new products and services in the contact center, we're able to help influence not just what is happening in those applications, but also understanding what metadata is going to be important for us to be able to use and measure, whether it be against the application itself or against the client's journey throughout. And so making sure that we always have our client centric view. So what is the widget that defines our client? How do we ensure that is in every application that we touch a client with so that we can start to track that information? That was pivotal, and that was huge for us to be able to do. We then also wanted to make sure that it didn't take my team days and weeks and hours and months even to get to that data. So we created a very strategic, comprehensive data strategy to say, okay, let's make sure that for non-critical data, so this is data that we wouldn't spend a ton of money to put into our data supply chain, we still have a space for it to land that is automated, that is not regulated, but well governed, has rules around it. So we built a data asset that allowed us to start to capture all this different data. So now we've got a data asset. So now instead of having to go to all these different sources, or some on-prem, some in the cloud, some in the data supply chain, we've got a single source for us to find our data. And we also have the people that know the data the most working with that data. So now we trust it and now we understand it. So we really spent a lot of time kind of cultivating our data environment. What that now has allowed us to do as we kind of move into the next iteration of the world, which is emerging AI technologies, we have a very trusted source of what we're going to put this AI against. And so now our validation efforts and our efforts to leverage new technology isn't going to be spent wondering where that data is, wondering if it's correct, hoping that the answer it just gave us is right or wrong. We know. So I think for a lot of people, whoever owns the data and knows the data is going to win the AI future. So we spent a lot of time doing that. And I think that I'm incredibly proud of my teammates, the people that have worked on this, the people that every single day care deeply about those data things are great assets to my team. And the other thing that we also kind of noticed in this whole journey of spinning up this team who was dedicated and focused to this concept was it took a lot of pressure off of our application owners and our product owners. Because at the end of the day, when you're in a product life cycle and you're trying to make something work, you're doing, like, engineers are coding and product developers are giving requirements. And then it seemed like they'd get to the end and then everybody like, what do we do with our data? And after like project fatigue, it kind of was an afterthought. But we now can pull that up in the process and they don't have to think about something that they're not necessarily comfortable thinking about because we're going to think about it for them and we're going to give them the right data requirements for what we need. So I think it really turned a shift on how we develop products at the bank so that we can harness that data more effectively to be able to use it in the future.